Hey guys, Bingocat here. So today I'm going to be showing you guys a video where I attempt to see if older style laptops, like laptops used in the early XP area, if basically just older style computers, is it still alright to use them in 2016? So right here I have a Dell Inspiron 8500 laptop. I bought this for $20 off of eBay about a week ago. I bought this for $20 off of eBay about a week ago. Yes, 20. Now, this thing cost over $2,000 when it was released. This was released in early 2003. So, yeah, my family used to actually have this exact same model laptop, so we paid over $2,000 for this in 2003. And in 2016, it cost just $20. That supposedly shows you how much computer technology has changed by now, right? So the first thing I want to point out about this laptop that I bought is that it is extremely thick. Let me show you guys something. Here is my 2012 MacBook Air, right? This is a lot more powerful than this has ever been or ever will be. And look at the thinness of this. This is really thin. Like, for example, if you open the screen of my Dell Inspiron 8500 and put the MacBook right by the side of it. Let's move this backwards just a little bit. As you guys can see, or let's compare this way actually. If you guys can kind of see, but basically this is actually thinner than just the screen on this laptop. The entire laptop is thinner than just the screen on this laptop. And it's a lot more powerful and has a lot more storage than this laptop. That is how much technology has changed between 2003 and 2012. Sorry if you guys hear a little background noise, it is raining outside. So yeah, moving on to the rest of the laptop, let's go ahead and look at the actual case itself. Now the case is, despite it being thick and heavy, is actually pretty nice. Looking on this side here, this is where an optical drive would go, but there's no optical drive in here. This is where a cable lock would go, so it can secure down your computer in public places so no one steals it. Now, this is a low place where USB ports are supposed to go, but this particular model computer doesn't have it there. This shared the same casing as the Dell Inspiron 8600, which actually has USB ports there, so that's why USB ports aren't present there. So moving on to the back of the laptop, right? So over on the left here is S-Video Out. This is basically just a video output for a TV display. That isn't really that commonly used anymore, but it's there because this laptop was tried to, I guess Dell tried to position it as a multimedia laptop, and then it has two USB 2.0 ports there. Then it has an RJ45 and RJ11 port there. The 45 was basically just for internet, the 11 for modem services. Then we have a parallel port here because there were quite a few things back in 2003 that used parallel ports like printers, but not anymore. Then we have a VGA video card output here, which in 2016, it's pretty rare to have a computer that still has these, but back in 2003 is extremely commonplace. And then a serial port here. This was just basically what was popular before USBs came into the picture, and they were already being phased out. That's why there's USBs on this laptop, but it was still there just in case you need it. And one thing I may point out is even though everything is moving to the cloud, I like it how this laptop and older laptops in general have more ports than a lot of newer laptops. Like my MacBook Air here, right? It just has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ports. Some people may argue that's all the ports you need. I like having ports on my computers just in case I need something. Like, just in case, that way I don't have to go out and buy an adapter or whatever if I actually need the port. And so yeah, moving on to the other side of this laptop, besides vents, there's FireWire here. Here's an expansion card slot, but there's no card in there. And down here is an infrared sensor, another thing I like about this laptop because I rarely ever see computers with infrared sensors. And then there's mic in and audio out, just your standard ports, right? And then moving on to the back of the laptop, right here, excuse the power cable, I'll just remove it. So, battery's right here, the hard drive's over here, and then you can get to your RAM sticks. It has a nice docking port. And here's the top of the laptop. I always liked this design. I always thought the Dell logo right here is pretty neat. It doesn't really look modern anymore, but it still looks pretty neat. Let's go ahead and open the laptop. Alright, and this is another thing I like about this particular laptop, right? It has a nice little mechanism to lock the screen into place. You don't really need it, I guess, but I still liked having it there. Open up the laptop. Now, this option was extremely configurable. Like, this model of laptop was extremely configurable. Dell doesn't really allow you too much configuration in your laptops anymore, but back then they allowed you to really customize this thing when you bought it. Like, for example, the one my family had something like 2 gigabytes of RAM in it. Well, this particular laptop that I bought off of eBay, this is all just stock components, and it has 1.25 gigabytes of RAM, and then this has a 1920 by 1200 display. That's right, a 1920 by 1200 display. That's better than HD, guys, and this is a 2003 laptop. Seriously, the display on this thing, which I'll show you guys later, is really gorgeous. Just for comparison, here is my modern dual monitor setup right over here, and this is only 1920 by 1080. Seriously, I'm using displays made 13 years into the future from when this thing was released, and it's essentially worse. Isn't that kind of weird how that works? Anyways, so back onto the actual laptop. As you can see, it has a nice trackpad here along with the trackball. No one, I don't think, uses trackballs anymore, but it was nice to have, I guess. I never really used it. The trackpad is kind of small by modern standards, but it was definitely 100% usable back then. And then it has your multimedia buttons, which goes with what I said earlier about it being a multimedia laptop. And then something else I like about this laptop is it has nice little indicator lights here. Once again, something I don't see too much in newer laptops, but it allowed you to tell you, for example, when your battery was low or charged, or if data is being read to the disk or not, without having to actually turn on the computer, basically, and I find that really neat. Anyways, guys, let's go ahead and turn on the actual computer and see how it performs. Now, this model of laptop, since it was released back in early 2003, it obviously came with Windows XP. This laptop also came with a Pentium 4 mobile processor, which was this entire laptop was pretty state-of-the-art for its time. Honestly, it's really showing its age now, but this was state-of-the-art back in 2003, so yeah. I actually, even though this came originally with the Windows XP Service Pack 1, I went ahead and wiped it and put Windows 7 Service Pack 1 on here, and honestly, it is pretty slow. This machine was not designed to run Windows 7, but it was kind of slow with XP too, so yeah, let's just turn it on. Alright, it's booting up. Now, regarding how this laptop performs today, I don't know if it's because of its age, or some of the components are wearing out, or I'm used to modern computers, but this laptop seriously feels really slow today to use. It might take a minute to turn on, or two. Alright, so the computer, guys, is finally completely turned on. Now, for some reason, whenever I turn it on, the display, for some reason, it resizes back to its default setting, but I can change it back to a higher resolution, so no harm done there. And we're going to go ahead and just apply it. Now, as far as how this computer actually performs, I tried to throw Windows 10 on here, but the CPU didn't meet the minimum requirements, but luckily Windows 7 doesn't need that requirement for the CPU. It was asking me if I had something called NX on my CPU, which this version of the Pentium 4M does not, unfortunately, but luckily I could throw Windows 7 on here. But yeah, this is Windows 7 running on a Pentium 4 with 1.25 gigabytes of RAM. Just for proof, I'm going to go and show it to you guys here. Now, the Windows installation, it's nothing special really. It's just a standard Windows 7 professional installation. But yeah, Pentium 4M, 2.5 gigahertz, 1.25 gigabytes, 32-bit. Now, I actually tried to turn on the Aero glass effects. You know, that glassy look you get with and transparency look you get with the Windows and Windows 7. That unfortunately the graphics card on this computer doesn't meet the requirements, so I could not get that running. Now there is an interesting point on this computer. Apparently this computer earlier in its life shipped with the GeForce 4200 graphics cards, but in the later versions of this laptop, it shipped with the 5200s, which actually could run Windows Aero. But I have a 4200 in this, so it could not run Windows Aero at all. So as far as actual performance on this laptop goes, it is extremely slow. I'm just going to open up Windows Update, and it'll probably take a while. Or if I were to open up Internet Explorer here, this is an old version of IE, but if I were to open it up, it's probably going to take a while. You see, it's not even opening up Windows updates quickly. Alright, so at least I got to this screen. 10 important updates available, stuff like that. Now Internet Explorer hasn't even opened yet. It's not even the modern version of IE. But if I were to open this up and just go to youtube.com, right? Oh, look, it's not even loading msn.com that quickly. And it's not my internet. I have pretty fast internet. Oh look, Internet Explorer isn't even responding now. On a side note, by the way, guys, I tried to install Minecraft on here and I could not get Minecraft to launch at all. So as far as running games on here, unless you're running games made around 2003 or before, I probably wouldn't recommend it. It can definitely not run modern games, like it cannot run Fallout 4, it cannot run Grand Theft Auto 5. I couldn't even get Minecraft to open on this computer. Alright, so my phone ran out of charge while making this video. So anyways, so yeah, final thoughts on, as far as this particular laptop goes, this is not really a good laptop anymore. It's not state-of-the-art anymore. You'd probably be better if you just stuck with running Windows XP as your operating system on here, unless you're like me and put Windows 7 on here. And honestly, unless you want to use this for like legacy programs, I probably wouldn't recommend running it in 2016. To be honest, it's not even that decent at the basic task like web browsing. Maybe if you're just web browsing Wikipedia, you could use this, right? Well, if you want to browse YouTube or something like that, this is really not the laptop to go. So some laptops are 2003 or PCs in 2003 and just generally in the early 2000s are really decent and can definitely perform in 2016 and probably all the way up to 2020 if you're running Windows 7 on there. But honestly, if you're going to do more than just the basics, like if you're doing more than web browsing and document editing, I'd definitely get a computer made at least after 2006. You know why after 2006? Because that's when dual-core processors started becoming available. This was made back during the days when there was only single-core processors that was popular, and honestly, that's nowhere near as good as dual-core processors. So, yeah, final verdict is don't really buy computers this old, but if you want it for like to run legacy applications or all you're doing is just basic web browsing, be my guest. But make sure to at least run Windows Vista or 7 on here, or just some modern Linux distribution would probably be better than Windows on a computer this old. And so, yeah, that's my final thoughts. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Goodbye!